I kind of became a golf fan, as we all did, because of Tiger Woods. This guy has absolutely changed the game of golf forever. And while I don't know that he'll ever catch Jack Nicklaus for the most majors, he still has a chance. It's going to be difficult with his age at this point. It's going to be difficult to do that, but he has a chance to do it. I still would consider him the greatest golfer of all time, and I actually don't think it's very close. Just like Michael Jordan doesn't have 11 championships like Bill Russell, doesn't mean that Bill Russell's the better player, even though Bill Russell is also an all-time great. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And I feel that same way about Tiger Woods. Sometimes in these individual sports, like tennis and golf in particular, we feel like unless you have the most majors, you're just not that guy. And I don't agree with that. I think that Tiger Woods clearly is that guy in golf. I think at his peak, you take his peak, 10 years versus any other peak 10 years, and I think he blows the competition away. Jack Nicklaus would come in second, but I think you got to give the nod to Tiger. But it's just sad how his downfall, and that's what the thing's about. It's about the rise and the fall and the re-rise of Tiger Woods. And interestingly enough, he just got in another accident, which of course happened after this documentary came out. And now the police have announced that they're not going to release the cause of the accident. And I'm thinking, I feel like nobody cared anymore. And now like you've made us so curious, like there's going to be people that will go and find out. Someone's going to find out what caused this most recent car accident that Tiger Woods was in, and it will be leaked eventually. It's just a matter of time. The fact that they announced that they're not going to tell us only makes people more curious, only makes people care more, only makes people dig harder, and they will find it, and we will eventually know, and we will pass the information along. But as of right now, we don't know what caused the most recent car accident for Tiger Woods, but here's a guy that was just in this public spotlight at a very young age, had a dad very similar to like the Ball brothers. Earl Woods was not very different from LeVar Ball. Very outspoken, very in your face about how his son, actually, I wouldn't say in your face, very outspoken about how his son was the greatest and was going to change the world, but in a much less in your face way than LeVar Ball, but a very tough on him kind of dad. And an interesting thing is it talked about in the documentary how his dad was, had like a Winnebago, trailer thing, like a motorhome basically, that he kept at this like naval golf course that he had access to, this country club. And one of his buddies, who was like one of Tiger's coaches or just childhood, mentors, friends of his dad's kind of thing, they would essentially cheat on their wives there at the golf club with all sorts of women. And Tiger, as a young kid, witnessed it. Like he saw his dad like coaching, I'm doing quotes for those listening, coaching these really attractive women on their golf swings, and then they would just kind of disappear into the Winnebago for a little while and, whatever. And Tiger, as a young kid's watching all of this, right? So he's watching his dad do it. He's watching his dad's friend. These are people he really looks up to and admires, and he's watching them cheat on their wives. And so it's not really a shocker. Sometimes the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Not really a shocker that Tiger went and did that same thing. So that was an interesting and very sad tidbit of information I learned from that. Another thing was all these Navy SEAL injuries that he basically, all this Navy SEAL training he did for fun that caused injuries. I mean, his knee stuff, I always wondered, like, how is this guy always having surgery? Like, he's a golfer. It's not exactly a high-impact sport. I get there's a lot of torque, especially on that lead knee, with how he swings so hard. But it talked about in his back, but it talked about in the documentary how really it was this Navy SEAL training he would go through just for fun to kind of like be in touch with his dad, who passed on from cancer back in, I can't remember, like 2007 or something like that. And those, all of that heavy duty Navy SEAL training was just destroying his knee and his back. So just a rough go for a guy that was going to blow away all the records. Probably now will not own all of the records. He already owns many of them, but sad, to see him fall like he did. I actually still root for Tiger. Like I've paid way less attention to golf ever since he became less and less of a factor.